All right, everybody. I just got off the phone with Kurt. We're running a little bit late, of course. Give us 5 minutes and we'll be on. What up, Pro Wrestling Junkies? Sorry we're running a little bit late today. We are here with four-time WWE champion, multiple other-time champion in both WWE and TNA, the man who loves milk, WWE Hall of Famer, your Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you even have the cowboy hat out there right behind you there.
Yeah.
That is a
Got
gem.
the old cowboy hat. Yep. That's the one that Stone Cold gave me.
What is Kurt Angle up to these days with everything going on with COVID and stuff like that?
Just do my thing. If anything, I've been spending a lot more time with my family, which is kind of nice. Having a career like that I had, traveling 300 days a year, it was hard to be at home. So it was actually, for me, it was actually good. I don't want to say that the coronavirus is good, but I want to say that being able to spend time with all my kids.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you for sure for joining us, and
Thank you.
we will hop right into this. We're going to go to Spencer's up first. What's up, Spence?
Hey, what's up? Hey, Kurt. Thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Spencer.
All right. I'll get my question out of the way because I know we got a lot of people lined up in this. AJ Styles, he's probably my favorite wrestler of all time. No disrespect to you, sir. So I just kind of want to know what makes him like so good, because I've seen multiple quotes. You said he's very easy in the ring, and then also from that Last Ride documentary, you suggested to Undertaker to work with AJ for that match. So just kind of your thoughts on AJ and his career.
Well, I think if anybody wants to have, I would say, career best type of match, there are three people that I would highly suggest. One is obviously not here anymore. That's Chris Benoit. The other one is Shawn Michaels, and AJ Styles is the third. These guys have the ability to make anybody look good. And the crazy thing is, when I wrestled them, it was a lot easier, because even though my intensity with Benoit was really, really high, he just made everything so good and looked so good and just so smooth. And he pretty much did all the work for me.
Right.
These guys, there are a lot of things that go on in the business. For instance, some guys are heavy when you lift them. They don't really jump for you. AJ, Shawn, Benoit, those three are the three best guys I've ever gotten in the ring with, that could just do anything. With AJ, he flies around for you. All you have to do is stand in the middle of the ring.
Right.
You don't even have to run. So,
right.
He's right now my overall favorite, because I've wrestled him hundreds of times and never had less than a 4-star match with him, no matter how simple or how complex it was. AJ is the best wrestler right now. He's getting older, but he's been able to keep up, with his, I want to say, athleticism.
Right.
But he's not just a great athlete. He's a great psychological worker. He knows his stuff. And AJ, I know this, Vince McMahon wishes he would have gotten AJ in 1999.
Right.
Back then, they overlooked AJ because of his size. And long story short, 10 years later, maybe 12 years later, AJ's finally there. But I think that if he was with WWE this whole time, I think that he would be, without a doubt, the greatest of all time.
Jeez.
Wow, that's high praise, man. All right. Well, thank you again, Kurt. Have a great night.
Spencer. Sorry
Thanks,
for
Spence.
the long answer.
Oh, it's all good.
It was awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Spencer.
All right. See you.
We will go say hi to our little buddy here, Steve. Oh, wait 1 sec. There he is, Steve.
Hi. Thank you for doing this, Kurt.
Thank you, Steve. What's up?
First question. What made you pick Baron Corbin instead of John Cena for your last fight?
I didn't pick Baron. I didn't really get who I wanted. Now you have to understand, I was doing a program with Jason Jordan, and Jason hurt his neck, and so that WrestleMania match, we're going to lead up to WrestleMania. I think we had about 8 months, and I was going to wrestle Jason. But that he hurt his neck, and they replaced him with Baron. And Baron and I had a program going up to WrestleMania, and the boss, Vince McMahon, didn't know I wanted to retire. I wanted to retire because I wasn't quite the same anymore. When I sat out and became general manager for about a year and a half, I wrestled a couple different times. I didn't really train. I just did the GM job, focused on that, and my body started getting really arthritic. My knees, my back, my neck gained a lot of weight, and I couldn't move anymore in the ring. So I told Vince McMahon, I'm retiring at this WrestleMania. I would love to wrestle John Cena, the guy that I started his career, and I wanted him to end mine. And Vince said, no, you have Baron Corbin. You've been doing a program with him for 6 months. You're going to finish it. If you want Cena next year, I could possibly give you him next year. And I said, no, I don't want to go another year. I want to wrestle. I want to end my career this year. So Baron's a great athlete. And he's a great worker, great guy. I love him. But, you know, where he was at the time might not have been at the level that most Hall of Famers who are going to have their retirement match would feel comfortable with. But he was great to work with. I didn't have a problem with that. I had a little bit of a problem with retiring with him, but I didn't care either way. I would have done it anyway. Baron Corbin, I don't want to put him down because he's really good and he's done a great job. And where he is now, he's a main eventer now, so he's good to go. But I wanted to go with John Cena because I thought it made sense. And unfortunately, it didn't happen, so I retired with Baron Corbin. I don't want to say I had the worst retirement match, but I would say that, wrestling Baron wasn't exactly my dream match. Although I would love to wrestle him now because of where he is now. But back then, he still wasn't quite there yet. So that's me, being nitpicky. But, I would have preferred John Cena, but I'm not upset about Baron.
Next question is, how did you beat the Olympics with a broken neck?
Well, I injured my neck in the U.S. Open. It was a couple of months before the Olympics. I got thrown on my head and went home, and I saw a couple of doctors. Couldn't find anybody that would clear me. I ran into a doctor that was helping me with some healing agents. We couldn't inject steroids because I was getting drug tested for the Olympics. So he wanted to give me a little bit of a healing agent, and he decided that since I couldn't train and I really couldn't wrestle, he decided that he would numb my neck with Novocaine before each match. So about 5 minutes before each match, I would get stuck with 12 shots of Novocaine in the back of my neck. And I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel my neck. So I wasn't focused on my neck anymore. I was focused on my opponent. The only setback was I didn't train that much the last 2 months because I couldn't. But being in the Olympics, I went to the Olympic trials and the Olympics, and I had those Novocaine shots, and they worked. So although when I got done wrestling, an hour later, when the Novocaine wore off, I was in extreme pain. It was a very tough situation for me, but I got through it, and everything worked out in my favor. I won the Olympic gold, and then I moved on and went to WWE. But I did have to take a few years off. I let my neck heal, and in '99 I signed with WWE, and 3 years later I broke my neck again, and then I broke it 3 more times. So I had really bad luck with my neck, especially in WWE. But I will say that I'm very grateful that I was able to compete and win the gold medal with my neck broken. Unfortunately, I'm suffering the consequences now. I do a lot of rehab on my neck just to feel normal. I have a lot of numbness in my arms and my fingers, and but it's going pretty well. So I don't regret doing everything I did, but I probably would have thought twice about some of the decisions I made.
The last question is,
Yes.
what was the hardest part retiring besides the fans?
I think the hardest part was knowing that I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. That I wouldn't be in front of thousands of fans. Um, I was, I know you probably remember. I was pretty good. I wasn't bad. So I took a lot of pride in my work, and there was one point where I was the best in the business, and I took a lot of pride in that. And I caught on the business pretty quickly, and I moved up the ladder pretty quickly, and I had a lot of success. My only setbacks were the broken necks, and that caused me into other bad habits, like when I started taking painkillers because of my neck. So I had a lot of setbacks because of it, and but I'm grateful that I am where I am today. So I'm just happy I got through it.
Thank you once again, and thank you for spending your time to talk to all of us, and it means so much to me.
Thank you very much. It means a lot to me too, man.
Thanks, Steven.
Bye, Steven.
Bye.
Kurt, you kind of touched up on it there, but what was like the turning point? Because obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but from the outside looking in, you seem like you're in a very happy spot through social media. You're dancing with to Drake songs and eating Fruit Loops on the couch. What was the turning point for you to get out of that, maybe that mental health or that addiction and into your happiness now?
It was my wife. My wife, when I met my wife back in 2009, 2010, around there, I had a lot of bad habits. I was taking a lot of painkillers. I was taking Xanax because I had anxiety about my neck, breaking my neck again. I have a lot of anxiety about that. So, and then when I moved, from WWE to TNA because I wanted to focus on my health, I went over there, and a lot of people over there drank alcohol, and I started drinking too. So then I was taking everything, pills and alcohol, and I made some horrible decisions. When you're a wrestler and you're traveling around the country, you drive every night from town to town, and here I am, drinking and driving and just being a complete idiot because I was so high on alcohol and pills. And I made some really bad decisions. And my wife told me if I didn't go to rehab, she was going to leave me. And I don't blame her for that. So I did it for her. I did it for her and my kids. And I've been clean for 7 years. And I'm very grateful for what she was able to do for me to turn my life around.
That's awesome. We will hop over to our buddy Jay. What's up?
Hey, how y'all doing?
How you doing, Jay?
Good, Kurt. Thank you for taking this time with us, man. It really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
So growing up, of course, I was a big time wrestling fan, still am. And one thing that I could hang my hat on when, people were like, it's not real, I could point to, well, Kurt Angle is a gold medalist,
Yeah.
and this guy is in here doing it every week.
Yeah.
And so I would go with everybody and tell them, here's his top matches, here's some of the best feuds he's ever had. But with all that, there's one person that I really wish we could have seen you get in the ring with. And I think it's just because of your accolades and what this person claims they had done.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, how would a match have gone between you and the Iron Sheik?
Oh, gosh. I love it. Okay, I do want you guys to know that anytime Iron Sheik and I got in an argument, it was a complete work. we went on Howard Stern. We went on, other channels, other radio stations, and with the Sheik, I never took him seriously. I love the guy. He's great. I loved his work. I mean, he wasn't the most polished, but the character and how tough he really was in real life. And, he was an Olympic alternate for Iran, which is, if you're an Olympic alternate for Iran, you're pretty much a stud. They're one of the best countries in the world. So he was also, I think, a bodyguard for the Shah.
Yep.
So he had a lot of history before he came to WWE. And him coming there, he was the perfect heel. Vince McMahon loved him. And he worked out incredibly well. He was the one that took the title from Bob Backlund and gave it to Hulk Hogan. And Sheik had an excellent career, and it's really sad because I saw him when he did the gimmick battle royal at WrestleMania, and seeing this guy, his health deteriorate. He was walking on the side of his foot. I don't know if you know it,
Right.
but he broke his ankle, and he doesn't walk on the bottom of his foot. He walks on the side of it, and he never really had that fixed. I don't know if he did yet. It's been about 18 years, but I always admired him. I think that he was great for the business. I think he was one of the greatest heels in the business, and I would have loved to have wrestled him. And we would have done a lot of amateur stuff.
Just a lot of mat-based wrestling, man. That's what I love.
Without a doubt. Yeah, the Sheik, yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Kurt. Jacob.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Jay. Have a good night.
You too.
We will head over to our friend Peter.
Hey, guys. Hey, Kurt. Thanks for doing this, man. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you, Peter.
So one of my favorite moments in wrestling history is with you and the milk truck. And so I always kind of wondered, how did they go about telling you what to do with the milk truck, or whose idea it was, and is it as fun as was it as fun as it looked? Because I always wanted to do that.
Yeah, but you know what? It would have never been possible without Stone Cold. What he did for me, he obviously drove the beer truck in the chorus truck and sprayed down Vince McMahon and everybody, and that was the beginning of it. And when Vince McMahon and the writer, his name's Brian Gewirtz, by the way, best writer I've ever had, him or Vince Russo, and whether you like Vince or not, I think he's talented. But Brian was the best writer I ever had. He connected with me very well. All those promos you heard was all his writing. He was incredible. Cool. And he came up with the milk truck incident, and he wanted to do the same thing as Stone Cold, but we had to get Austin's approval. And Austin approved it. Another thing Stone Cold did, during that program is, I wasn't supposed to beat him for the title. But when 9/11 occurred, he came to me and said, hey, we might want to change things up a bit. The American hero winning the world title during this time might be good for the business and good for everybody. And I was like, wow. And, so Austin told Vince McMahon, let's do it. And I only held the title for a week, but it was pretty cool that he wanted to do that for the business, because usually when you're in the business, you're in for yourself. And Austin's never really been about himself. It's always been about what's best for the business. And I learned a lot from him. And we became good friends, and we did a lot of great business together. And I have a lot of respect for him, and I admire him very much.
Very cool. Hey, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you both. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. We will say hi to Johnny. Oh, Sarah. Sorry. Sarah's here first.
Hi, Kurt. Thanks for doing this for us.
Thank you, Sarah.
So, kind of been thinking, when you signed with WWF or WWE in '99, if Vince said, you know what, you can't play the Olympic gold medalist, you can't play the wrestler, come up with a whole new gimmick, what do you think you would have taken?
I don't know. I don't know. You know what's crazy? I never did anything like that. I was never a showman. I was always just a pure athlete. Didn't even know if I had a personality. So going into WWE, I just thought, when I started, I didn't think I was going to be on Raw. I thought I was going to be on the weekend show, Superstars or whatever it's called, and just, be one of those guys that contributed. Because I didn't know what I had. I didn't know if I had the talent to become an entertainer or if I was just going to be an in-ring worker, a wrestler. But Vince McMahon gave me the opportunity, and I surprised everyone, including myself.
Worked out very well.
Being the goofball was very easy for me, although I never did it before. I don't know why, but I was able to show all emotions, and it came relatively easy. I didn't know I could cut a promo. I didn't know, nobody worked with me on this stuff. I didn't know if I had a personality. I knew I was a great athlete, and I was picking up on the wrestling really well, quickly. I mean, surprisingly quickly. I was only on TV 10 months when I won my first world title. So I was only in the business a year and a half. So I knew that was going to be okay, but I just didn't know if I was going to be the kind of entertainer that The Rock is, Austin is, Undertaker, Chris Jericho, and I was, surprisingly. So it came down to one night where Vince McMahon came to me and said, "You're going to say this," and he talked to me for 5 minutes. He said, "You're going to do this in 10 minutes." So he said it for. I was watching him talk for 5 minutes, but I wasn't listening because I was like, "Holy crap, I'm not going to remember all this." And when he got done, he said, "Are you ready?" I said, "No, Vince, I'm sorry, but I didn't hear a word you said." And he said, "Okay, I'm going to say it one more time, and you're going to go out there and do it. And if you don't, this is your only shot." So I went out there and did it. And Vince was like, "Okay, we have a real player here." So it was a test to see how I would do. It was in my hometown, and I passed it. So that's when Vince McMahon decided to run with me. We did the Olympic gold medal gimmick and the Olympic hero thing. But I honestly don't know what I would be. I don't know if I would have had any other gimmick. That's who I was. So I probably would have thought of something else or would have came in prepared. But I came in with my hands up like, I don't know what you want to do with me, but I'm here and I'm ready to learn. And they just took me under their wing and taught me what I had to learn, and it turned into something great. So I was very fortunate.
Absolutely. Worked out great for you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nice meeting you too.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Kurt, a question from the comments here is, who was your inspiration growing up, I guess, as a wrestler?
Well, Dan Gable. I mean, geez, him and Dave Schultz were my two favorite wrestlers. As far as pro wrestling, I didn't watch it back then. I was always a Bruno Sammartino fan because he's from Pittsburgh, and when I grew up, we didn't have a lot, so we didn't go to many events or do many things. If anything, we played on the street, and that's all we had. But I remember my parents took me one time to a wrestling event when I was about 11, and Bruno wrestled Larry Zbyszko, and it was the greatest thing in the world. I never forgot that, but I also never continued watching wrestling again. I decided to wrestle when I started watching Raw in 1998, and I saw a guy named Stone Cold Steve Austin on the TV. And I was like, wow, I want to be that guy. And this is when he was doing the bear truck, and he was in his prime. And Rock came on, and he became one of my favorites. Undertaker became one of my favorites. I got really glued to the television, and I got addicted to the pro wrestling bug. And that's when I knew I was going to be good, because anytime I focus on something, whether it's the Olympics or pro wrestling or whatever it is, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I'm the best I could be. And I studied these guys, never took a look at opening card or mid card. I only watched main event matches, and I watched the structure, the psychology, the moves. And surprisingly, I picked up very quickly and was on my way. I was world champion within my first year in the business, and it just parlayed into other things. So I was very grateful that I had a great career like that. I just didn't know if I had what it took, and I did. So I'm very fortunate.
Awesome. We'll head over to we'll say hi to Johnny.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate
the
opportunity. Try and keep it quick. My first question is your thoughts and feelings on Bret Hart. Sadly, I never got to see you guys wrestle each other, but given that opportunity, how do you think that would have went? And just your quick thoughts on Bret Hart himself as the man and the legend he is.
But Bret Hart's the worst wrestler I've ever seen. Listen, when I started, my eyes were on Austin, Rock, all those guys. But I also knew that if I was going to have the dream match I wanted, I knew it was going to be with Bret Hart. And I contacted him, I think it was in 2002 or 3, And this is after he got, kicked by Goldberg, and then I think he had a stroke. And I said, listen, I love the rest of your WrestleMania. You're my dream match. I think that if I wrestled you, the match could be one of the greatest of all time. And he said, Kurt, I'm going to have to think about it. I had a stroke, and I just, the longer he talked, the more he was talking himself out of it. And I understand now, because when I came back to WWE in 2017, I wasn't the same wrestler. And watching myself on film, I was like, oh gosh, I look like an old man, and I don't look like the old Kurt Angle. So I know what Bret was thinking. He knew he couldn't put on the Bret Hart performance that he knows he can, so he's not going to do it. And I know he came back and wrestled Vince, but that was a street fight. They had jeans on. They were using gimmicks. If I was going to wrestle Bret, and I told Bret, I said, listen, I'll do all the bumping. I'll do all the riding, the bumping. You just have to stand in the middle of the ring.
Right.
He's like, well, I don't want to give you that type of performance. I want to be Bret Hart, and I can't be. So I understand. I wish he would have done it, but I do understand why he declined. But I also know that that's what he wanted. He just couldn't do it. And now I know why. And it sucks, because I think that match.
Shame we never got to see it.
You know what? The thing is, Bret and I could have wrestled for 3 hours. Like, I've done, I think, 3 Ironman matches. I'm pretty capable of it, and I know Bret's even more capable of it. So, doing an Ironman match with Bret, look at the match he had with Shawn. They didn't even have a pinfall in 60 minutes. It was one of the most exciting matches I ever saw. So I knew I would have that type of performance with Bret. I just wish it would have happened.
Okay, so last quick thing is that since I'm an action figure collector, I'm just truly curious if you keep your own action figures.
Let me see. Can you see up in that shelf behind me? There's a few of them up there. You know what? I'll be honest with you. WWE would send them to me, and I would get them, and I would give them to kids, and I would give them to my son, and I would give them to my daughters, and I would hand them out. I even, if a fan sent me a letter, I would, send them an action figure. I was never a collector of things, and when I married my wife Giovanna back in 2012, she's like, "Where's all your stuff?" And I said, "I gave it away." She said, "Where are your outfits?" I said, "They're in the Hall of Fames. I gave them to fans. I gave them to people that wanted them, or I sold them." And she's like, "Why would you do that? That's all your stuff. You should have it." As you can see, I don't have much of a trophy case here, so I never collected things, and I regret that, because I look back now and I wish I would have collected every action figure, every outfit I wore, every pair of boots I wore. I don't have anything. I think we have like 3 outfits and 4 action figures. So then my wife started going online and buying the action figures.
I was going to say, it's never too late to start.
So
you can find it all.
She's buying old ones, new ones. She's buying some for $2, some for $50. It just depends on where she gets it. So I think right now we have about 28 of them, I think is her count. But there's over 100. So
yeah, you got a long way to go. I was going to say you got a long way to go.
Yeah, I know. But
all right,
that's
Kurt,
my
appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pro Wrestling Junkies, right on.
Thanks, Johnny.
Ciao, ciao.
We will head over to our buddy Brad. What's up, Brad?
Hey, what's going on? Kurt, it is a privilege, and I know everyone else is the same way, to even speak with you. I'm going to ask you 2 real quick questions. One's for me, one's for my son Oscar, who, along with his mother, decided eating dinner was more important than being here. But I'll talk to him about priorities later. Okay, so the first time you won a belt, how long did it take from when you left the ring to getting yourself in front of a mirror to see what the belt looked like on you?
It's crazy. I don't even know if I went in front of a mirror. First time I won the title was against The Rock, and that was at No Mercy. No Mercy 2000. I had to bolt out of the arena, and Big Show was waiting for me in a car. So I didn't get to look at myself in the mirror. I think the first time I did it was in the hotel room when I got there, when I checked in, and I had my title and I put it on my shoulder and turned around, and there's a big mirror in the hotel. I was like, holy crap! I actually won the world title. I think I was only on for 10 months, and it was a big surprise for me. I when I started, I was winning a lot of matches. I had an undefeated streak. I won King of the Ring, won the Intercontinental title, European title. But then I started having a series of losses. So I was wrestling Undertaker. It was a squash match. Big Show was a squash match. I think the next guy was, I think I was in a triple threat with The Rock and Triple H, and I didn't win. So I didn't win a match for like 5 months. And then Vince McMahon calls me 4 days before the pay-per-view and says, hey, we're giving you the world title on Sunday. And I'm like, why? I've been losing all the matches. I haven't won a match in like 5 months. He's like, well, we have plans for you. So it was one of those things where every level you go up, whether you're opening card, you go to mid card, they're going to have you win a bunch of matches. Then when you get to that mid level, you're going to lose a couple times. Then you're going to win some matches. Then you go to the main event. Then they're going to have you lose a few matches. Then you'll start. So it's not like a meteoric rise to the top. It's more of a up and then down a little bit, then up, then down a little bit. It's so the fans get used to you and get used to you in that situation. And, I'll give you a great example. And he is one of the best wrestlers today, whether you like him or not. He is an in-ring general. He's great in the ring. I've watched him. I've studied him. He's incredible. Roman Reigns, okay? The problem with Roman is Vince just from zero to hero, and fans were like, what's going on? Who's this guy? Why is he above everybody else? Why does Vince like him so much? If Vince likes him so much, I don't like him. So that's when Roman started getting a lot of enemies. So the difference was they built me up and then tore me down, built me up, tore me down. With Roman, they just went right up here, and boom, he never looked back. He should have been a heel a long time ago, and that's Vince's decision. I'm not saying I'm right. That's my opinion, but I think that he would be a much bigger babyface right now than he was when he turned heel. And I think that you need a couple face heel turns before you can really, really get over. And Roman was never a heel until now, so it's been a long time coming, and I think it's the best move for him because after this heel run, he's going to be like John Cena, that level. There's no looking back.
All right. Well, I'm going to punish my son by not asking the next question so other people can ask questions and he'll learn his lesson. Kurt, thank you so much. Again, an honor. Hello. I will for sure. Take care.
Thanks, Brad.
No problem.
We will head over to a fellow Pittsburgh gentleman. Michael, what's up?
Hey, Kurt. Hey, Jacob. It's an honor to meet you, Kurt. I'm marking out big time right now.
Thank you.
I grew up the same era of Pittsburgh as you did. I graduated in '87 like you, and I followed you since you won the gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
My question is, it's not a wrestling question. Who was your sports hero growing up in Pittsburgh?
I had many. I would say that it was always sports teams. So, Pittsburgh was a city of champions in the 70s. That's when I grew up. And, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, L.C. Greenwood, I loved Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, all the Steelers. I mean, they had so many Hall of Famers on that 70s team that it was unbelievable. I was also a big Barry Bonds fan when he played for the Pirates. I miss Roberto Clemente, but everybody's a fan of him, just watching him on tape. But I growing up and being part of that city that really tacked on a lot of world titles, football, baseball, hockey, Mario Lemieux. You had a sense of pride. You know this because you're from Pittsburgh. So it is kind of cool to be from the city of champions, and there's so many sports heroes to look up to. It's especially when you grew up in the era I did. So, the one thing I was really surprised at, because, Pittsburgh is such a tough city, but besides Paul Spadafora, never heard of a boxer being from here, unless it was in the 1930s, 20s. Just it was kind of surprising because you look at Philly and it's like they're identical, tough cities, very, very Pennsylvania-ish, and they have a lot of boxing heroes over there. Combat heroes is what I wanted to call them. I was just surprised that Pittsburgh didn't have any, and I did a lot of research, and there weren't a lot of good boxing gyms here. So that's probably the reason for it. But I've always been into one-on-one sports, individual sports. I played football, played baseball. I even played basketball a little bit. But I was always into combat. I was always into one-on-one, one guy against the other. And so I've been big fans of wrestlers and boxers, and now MMA. I'm a big MMA fan. But being from Pittsburgh, I was just surprised that they, it's a great wrestling city. I mean, especially for amateur wrestling. And Pennsylvania is number one in the nation.
Yes.
But I was just surprised there weren't a lot of, combat heroes in Pittsburgh. It was crazy.
I appreciate that, man. I really thank you for coming on, man. It's been an honor talking to you.
Thank you, man. I hope I see you around.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
The mean streets of Pittsburgh. Thank you, Michael. We will hop over to Dante.
Hey,
buddy.
How you doing, Kurt?
How you doing, Dante?
All right. This is my friend Malcolm. It was his birthday the other day.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. You are a legend, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, we want to know, how was it? Can you explain the vibe of working with Sean at WrestleMania? That is one of my favorite matches. I think that was a great match. And can you just take us through the motions of that match with Sean at WrestleMania?
The crazy thing about Sean, and anybody will tell you this, he has the ability to, have a 5-star match with everybody. He is without a doubt the most seasoned and best in-ring worker I've ever been in the ring with. We never locked horns before WrestleMania, and Sean didn't want to practice. He wanted to just sit down and talk. And it's funny because I don't know if you heard my interview just recently, but first thing Sean said to me when he approached me, and I don't know why, but obviously someone must have told him that, either one, I was a badass and, Olympic gold medalist, and I could probably kick his butt. I don't know why he said this, but or two, he just thought I was really stiff in the ring, which I was. So I'm not gonna lie to you. But he said to me, "I'm not afraid of you." I was like, "What?" He said, "I'm not afraid of you. If something goes down the ring, I'm ready." And I was like, I never had a problem with anybody, so I was like, I don't know why he just told me that, but I guess he's not afraid of me, so at least I don't have to worry about that. But we talked about each other's families. We talked about the match, but we didn't run through it like physically. So I was nervous because I was in the business. I was in the business 6 years, but it's still relatively new, and people say unless you have 15 years of experience, that's when you know that you can just walk in the ring and do the things you got to do and have a great match, and you don't have to really plan. I still had to plan a little bit, and Sean didn't want to do that. The only thing he wanted to do, he wanted to see if I could lift him. He had like a scissor lock on my arm. He wanted me to lift him over my head so he could do a sunset flip behind me. And we just practiced that, and that was it. So we didn't lock horns. We didn't test each other's ability. We didn't get in the ring and see how smooth we were. We just went in there and did it at WrestleMania. And it was without a doubt one of my top 3 best matches I ever had. I always put it up there with Benoit, Royal Rumble 2003, and Undertaker, No Way Out 2006. And Sean at WrestleMania was right up there with them. And it's crazy because we didn't really plan a lot. We had to come back and finish. Everybody does. Don't let anybody tell you any different, that they don't plan their matches. They're full of crap if they tell you that. Oh, we called the whole match. No, not at WrestleMania. You don't do that. So we did talk it over, but not going over it physically made me a little nervous. But now knowing how good Sean is, he's so good he doesn't have to go over anything. So, Sean is the best. I've told many people this, and I think if I had the years of experience Sean did, I think that I would be the best. But I don't have the years of experience. Sean's been in it over 30 years, so he is so talented and so experienced, and he just knows everything. He's got great timing. The guy can cut a promo, and he could finish on the very second that he was expected to finish. So if the promo had to be 8 minutes and 32 seconds, he's going to do it in 8 minutes and 32 seconds. The guy's phenomenal. So he has a feel for time. He knows what he has to do. He knows what he has to say. He gets in the ring. He does it. He's never gone under or over in a match. He's always been on time. This guy has more talent and ability than anybody I know. And the only one that I could put him up there right now is AJ Styles.
Thank you. We appreciate it, man. Thank you, Jacob. And it's true. It's damn true.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Adante.
Thank you, y'all.
We will
Take care.
say hi to Dylan. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Kurt. How you doing?
Good, Dylan. Thank you.
It is so awesome to meet you. I've watched you throughout your whole career, and it's been an amazing one. I've got two questions for you. One first, the Hell in a Cell match back in 2000 Armageddon. What was it like working the only 6-man Hell in a Cell match?
It was a dream come true. I mean, all the guys in that ring, they're all legends. And I worked with Rikishi in Memphis before I came up, and he was every bit as good as the other guys. He might be better. For his size, I've never been in a ring with someone so talented. It's just crazy how quick he moves and what he can do, especially with his body size. So having, when people say, there was Undertaker and Triple H and The Rock and Austin and Kurt Angle and Rikishi, I don't know how you feel about him, but he's just as good and I respect him just as much as Taker or Triple H or Rock or Austin. He is that good. And I had the ability to be able to have a 30-minute match with him in Memphis. And what he did for me down there was unbelievable. And he made me earn the win. I basically had to hit him with like 500 finishes. But it was a fun match, and he taught me a lot. And I have a lot of respect for all those guys, including Rikishi. And I actually mentioned Rikishi in my Hall of Fame speech because I never forgot what he did for me. All those guys are incredible athletes and incredible workers. And they all have, obviously their personas in WWE are larger than life. So I was like a little kid in a candy store. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, I'm the newest one here. And I've only been in the business, a year.
Yeah.
Here I am headlining with all these guys. So it was it was a lot to take. And I was really nervous because it was like, if I mess up now, I'm never going to get another shot because I have these professionals in the ring with me. So just trust me, it was to be in that ring with those guys and knowing that I was at their level at that point in time made me feel really good about it.
It's really awesome. Yeah, I when you mentioned, you said you mentioned Rikishi in your Hall of Fame speech. I was actually there. And
good.
Yeah, it was a privilege getting to go to the Hall of Fame and watch you go in and stuff. It was my first WrestleMania weekend too, so couldn't have picked a better Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But yeah, Rikishi is a really good wrestler, honestly. I mean, he does move pretty fast for a guy his size. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he definitely should have gotten more of a chance.
I think the reason what happened was Vince had the Rockets under him. He was gonna be a killer, and then it parlayed into a comedy with Too Cool,
Yeah.
and that's what probably, I don't want to say hurt him, but I think that's what set him off the rails and put him in a different direction. And he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the, entertaining the fans and being, Mr. Stinkface. So,
Right.
um, uh, but do I think that it was the right move? No, I think that they should have continued on. He was killing people in a minute, just every week, and
Oh yeah.
I think they could have kept going with that, and he would have had more success in the long run, I think.
Well,
Thank you. Go on,
I had,
Dylan.
I had one more question actually. So if you were still able to wrestle right now, is there anybody you would have loved to work with?
I would say anyone in the world.
Yeah.
Or anyone in WWE.
Just anyone in general. AEW, New Japan, TNA, wherever.
I would say if I was going to wrestle anyone, I'd love to have one last match with Cena. But I've been watching Chris Jericho, and wow, he's still good.
Absolutely.
I'm so jealous of that son of a gun. For him, he's my age. Like for him to be able to go at this level, what he's doing right now, at his age, and he's been wrestling for like what 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal. He might go down in history, and this is me, but is one of the top 5 greatest of all time. I definitely put him in the top 5.
Oh, absolutely.
Jericho, what he's done consistently and for this many years, it's unreal. I mean, when I saw him when I came back to WWE 2017, I said, Chris, it's like you never skipped a beat, man. You're still as good as you ever were. He said, I appreciate that, and he walked away, and that's the last time I saw him. But I wouldn't mind having one more round with Jericho, but it's not going to happen. So,
right.
You've had one.
Yeah, you've had one hell of a career, man, and I thank you for all the memories you brought us.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dylan. We have 3 more for you, Kurt. We're gonna go over to Dennis.
I'll be right
What's
back.
up, Dennis?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, Dennis?
Good. It's an honor to meet you, Kurt. You're in. I'm gonna mark out here and tell you are in my top 10 of all-time favorites. Stop it. Sorry, I'm out with some friends, and one of them being a jerk. But you're like in my top 10 all-time favorites. So I really appreciate everything you've done for me personally over the years.
Thank you.
And that's okay. So my question is, and it goes back to your debut on the main roster at Survivor Series 1999. When you got on the microphone and did the "You Do Not Boo" an Olympic gold medalist, was that scripted or was that an on the fly move?
It was on the fly, but I didn't plan it. I was in the ring, nervous as hell. I was wrestling Sean Stasiak. It was my first match. I was only in the business training 6 months, 7 months. So I didn't have a lot of training. And they're already starting me, and I'm not sure why. And all of a sudden, I remember Sean Stasiak put me in a chokehold, and the ref taps me on the shoulder and says, hey, Vince wants you to go walk over to the microphone, grab it, and tell these fans you do not boo an Olympic champion. I said, how am I going to do that? I'm in a chokehold. He said, fight your way out of it, knock Stasiak down, and go out and do your promo. I was like, wow, this is how it works. I guess he's just going to tell you whenever, when you're in the ring, he'll just tell you, go do this or you go do that. I didn't know what to expect. So I got out of the ring and I did what he told me to do, and the fans booed even louder. And that was the beginning of Kurt Angle heel. Vince McMahon ran with it from there. And he basically, what he told me was, he tried to do that. He tried to push The Rock as a babyface when he started, and it didn't work. It backfired. So he knew that it would happen with me, especially with my credentials. And fans wanting this new guy to come in. He's the Olympic champion, and he's coming into entertainment. He felt a lot of fans were going to be like, this guy's not going to be any good. He's never been in the business, and he's actually just a pure athlete. And so when I came in, we didn't have any plans of what I was going to do. And Vince McMahon, that night when I said you do not boo an Olympic champion, they all booed me. And Vince McMahon said, I have my top heel. He told me, you're going to be the number one heel in the business in the next 3 months. And he was right. I mean, people hated me.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I had a great writer. You heard me before, Brian Gewertz. He was coming up with some great stuff. And, I'd love to take credit for that, but it wasn't my stuff. I just performed very well with it. And I probably, I would say I nailed 99% of it every time. That's what made Vince have confidence in me to continue on. So, being a world-class athlete and Vince McMahon seeing how entertaining I was, there was no way he wasn't going to continue to push me. So it was just one of those things where we had to learn on the fly and see what I had. And fortunately, it was good. It was great.
So yeah, when you did that, I looked at my best friend who I was watching the show with, and I said, "That guy is going to be a star." And I was dead on with
I
that.
didn't know I was going to be. I still thought I was. I said,
And then
I'm
one
gonna
more funny
flop.
story. And then one more funny story I got for you before I let you go and let them ask the last question. You did a house show in Chicago in November of 2000. It was a couple weeks, I think, after the Survivor Series, and you were wrestling Chris Jericho. I think it was the last match before intermission. You won, and my best friend and I started doing the Kurt Angle victory dance in the middle of the arena, and we had people throwing stuff at us. So I just want to say thank you for that.
They hated you, huh?
They hated me, but I loved it. So, but thanks again for
Hey,
your time, Kurt. I
what?
really appreciate it.
I love fans like you. What's funny is I get a lot of fans now that come to me and say, "Hey, I hated your guts when I was young. You were so annoying, but now I appreciate it." It's like, hearing that makes you feel good. Like, I was supposed to make you hate me, and most of the fans did hate me, and they appreciate how much they hated me. It's crazy. This business is so crazy.
Well, I
Thank you,
appreciate
Dennis.
everything you did. So thank you for everything, Kurt.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
We will hop over to Brittany quickly. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, Brittany.
Oh, I think she's having connection issues, so we will oh, wait, maybe it came in now. Nope. All right, we'll go to the last one of the night. Doug, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, Doug.
Kurt, thanks again for coming on with us. Really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you with us. Just got a quick question for you. Just kind of wanted to ask you, kind of how was your kind of game day preparation, like leading up to a big pay-per-view match? How much time did you talk with your opponent? Kind of how did the day go from kind of wake up to the time the match started?
Well, I didn't like getting together early. When I started in the business in '99, I got thrown into the fire pretty fast. So, I'll give you an example. A very talented wrestler named Terry Taylor. I had one of my first matches with him. I think he was my second match. My first match was Tom Pritchard. And Terry brought me in, and he didn't want to go over the match with me. He just wanted to call it in the ring. And I was like, "You're crazy," because I just started wrestling last week, and I only had one match so far. He said, "Don't worry, I'll get you through it." So he got me through the match, and the match was good. It wasn't outstanding, but I mean, for a match that was called on the fly, it was pretty good. And I thought, wow, that's how I'm going to prepare for my matches. So it's crazy because when I started coming to Raw and SmackDown, we wouldn't get together till 6 or 7 at night because some of the main eventers wouldn't come till later, and we'd only have an hour to structure the match, and then we go out and do it. So I was used to it, and so for me, my routine was just to relax all day until we got close to the show. Let's talk it over. Let's get the comeback and finish all set up, and then we'll call the rest. And we call a lot of the beginning and a lot of the heat. It's relatively easy once you get the hang of it. So I go through that, and then I go take a shower. I get ready, and I would do my stretching, and then I'd say a quick prayer, and then I would go out to wrestle. So there wasn't a lot of preparation for me. The one thing I wish I would have done is would have taken care of myself a little better. I didn't stretch as much. I didn't, after the matches were over, I didn't ice. I didn't stretch to warm down. I just abused my body, and I abused it as long as I could till I couldn't do it anymore. Now I'm paying the price for it, and I'm doing a lot of rehab now, and I'm starting to feel better again. But it's taken me a few years. So, and I gained a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight. I'm back to my normal weight now. But as far as my preparation, I got thrown into the business, so I kind of prepared that way. I remember one night I was having a 6-man tag at Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan comes in at 7:30 at night. Our match is at 8, and he says, "Okay, guys, what are we doing?" And I'm like, "Holy crap, we have a half hour and we're on." I was kind of mad at him, and but we got it done, and I started getting used to that. Not having a lot of time to get ready. So, a lot of guys prepare all day. They even prepare all week. They'll write down stuff and they'll call each other on the phone and, how about this spot, that spot. I didn't do that. I usually did at the last minute. I was pretty good about that.
Right on. Thanks, Kurt. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Doug.
thank you. You have a great night.
You too,
Well,
man.
everybody from Pro Wrestling Junkies, Kurt, would love to say thank you. And besides for Physically Fit Protein Bites that are proud sponsors of this virtual meet and greet, where else can everybody find you and stuff that you're up to currently?
Well, I own a business called Physically Fit Nutrition. We have this new product called Chicken Snacks, and they're doing extremely well. We have a deal with Amazon. We private label for them, but they're chicken protein. They're made into Chex Mix type of texture, and they're incredible. We have 11 flavors. We also have plant protein, but they're doing really well. They're one of the best tasting snacks on the market right now. Very high protein, low carb, and I'm really excited about its future. So go to physicallyfit.com and order them, and you'll see a lot of photos of me on there too. But don't forget to follow me on Real Kurt Angle on Instagram and Real Kurt Angle on Twitter.
Thank you, and everybody have a great night.